Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. Everybody hit that like button as you enter into the chat. Thank you very much. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So today we are going to be discussing, hold on a sec. We are going to be discussing how laws and beliefs change the way we manifest, how we think, and how we change and shape our everyday lives. And this is something that a lot of people realize, and they have to step back a little bit and kind of watch how society has changed since certain laws have been put in place. And I mean laws that allow women and everyone to be equal on the same scale as far as opportunities go. Even if it's just on paper, it's still quote unquote a law that was written. I think laws and beliefs allow people to think in a way that they've never thought before. And this goes with a lot of other things as well. Like when people stop being religious or only learning about one way or reading one book, religious book, their mind is stimulated, y'all, and opens up in different ways. And new thoughts and new ways of thinking come in and allow you to manifest in a way that you've never thought you could before. In fact, it allows you to manifest, period. Because if everyone was still religious or unable to comprehend the term manifest, they would still be begging and praying a lot of times. So just the freedom of religion to practice whatever you choose as far as what you believe in allows us to create and manifest better and more than what we were, taught to pray for, and, what we see as God or how we see God and if we see God, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of places that are still kind of oppressed, their ability to manifest maybe a little bit more limited based on what they are able to see on social media, on their television networks, and the laws that they have and the oppression that they still may have. They may not be able to manifest on the same scale and level as other people who are more free in their thinking. Nurse Fancy Sprinkle Sprinkle, how you doing, girl? Welcome, and you are a member, I see. Thank you for becoming a member. Shout out to the members. Okay, so since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of human consciousness, we have been looking outward and for something to reach for, to believe in, to find our origin from, to make sense of. And people would always make statues and contribute, worship to, the sun, the moon, the stars, or whatever they could see. But what they really forgot, or they didn't know, was that it was all within. It was all within their consciousness. But in order to know that, you would have to look around first in order to find that out again. Like, you ever been looking for your glasses and they were on top of your head? Or, they were on your face? It's the same thing. So a lot of times we go and search and looking for all these things and trying to fulfill a certain belief, or, look for a certain thing that we feel like is a mystery, but it's already within. And this search, this is why in the tarot deck, the Fool card has a dog with it. And packed his little belongings and just walking with no direction and is about to actually walk off a cliff. But at the same time, he is unaffected and unbothered because he's on a journey to find himself. And that's why the next card is the magician card, because they start to see through the illusions and all the tricks and all this kind of stuff. And then, so forth and so on. But they get to realize, like, when they go through that hermit stage, and they have to be with themselves, they start to see how their life is an actual reflection of everything that they claim to be, you know. And so a lot of times our laws that suppress us or take away certain rights or give us, certain rights is kind of like meddling with how you manifest and what you believe. For example, when a law is set in place, you automatically think you can't do something anymore because that law has been put into motion or has been passed. But that's just not true. That's just a way to create a mass way of thinking at the same exact time and to stop a certain way of manifesting. So, whenever things change that you don't agree with it. You don't have to accept it. All you need to do is manifest continuously as you were prior to whatever law that was being passed. If you believe that law is unjust, I'll say. That's how laws get changed as well. People just don't pay attention to them if they're not, you know, fitting into the world that they're building. So, this is why a lot of people who, argue about politics and argue about this, and that, but they're wasting their breath. Just do what you were going to do anyway. Continue manifesting, continue on your journey. Know thyself. Know that you will create this, and what you don't accept, you bypass. That's pretty much it. I don't worry about it, because if enough people accept that a certain law or laws have been put in place to take away certain rights or give certain rights, or not be put in place for the safety of certain people, then who cares? Practice what you want. Do what you want. You create your own world, not the masses. You create your own world. So that's it. If, a lot of people grew up hearing that they can't do certain things because of their age, their gender, their color, their preference, their sexuality, but they didn't listen, and they kept going. So a lot of laws are still in place in some parts of the world where a lot of people are still definitely listening to that and not manifesting and living and creating the world that they could be. This is why a lot of people move and live in other countries, because if the mindset in one certain area is, dominant, it's kind of hard for one person to manifest in a place where everybody's manifesting the exact opposite. This is why so many people migrate and live in other places. And that is a lot of what you see in all these religious books: pilgrimages, people moving to different lands and far away from this land because they don't want to worship this way, or they don't want to believe in these laws, and da 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 da. Well, now you don't really have to do that, because all you have to do is basically click a button, read a book, order a book online, and get a whole different way of thinking. Watch a video, watch a YouTube video, and get a whole different perspective of thinking of people who are like-minded. And they don't have to live next door to you. They don't have to live down the street from you. They can live across the ocean from you. But as long as you feel like you are not alone in your way of thinking and manifesting, then you become more powerful as a manifester and as a creatrix of your own world. And a lot of those laws will start to be ignored the more people connect with other people who are like-minded. So that's why you see a lot of censorship in certain parts of the world, like certain videos can't be shown in certain countries because they don't want those ideas, those beliefs, those values, and those morals in their country. They ask you to move out or seek or go vacation somewhere and do those things over there, but don't bring them here. And that's totally understandable. But eventually, that's not going to work anymore because information is too easy to get now. Okay. You notice that when you manifest, things happen synchronistically. Yeah. Because that's how it occurs when you know who you are. If y'all have read my book, and I pinned it at the top, How to Manifest with Magic and Dark Cosmic Energy. If y'all haven't read it, y'all go get it. It's pinned at the top, and I will also link it again. It's on Amazon, you guys. This book basically teaches you how to manifest as the source, not asking, not begging, not telling, not hoping, not working with any deity, but becoming source and also creating and changing the world as you like. Okay. And a lot of people will say, oh, blasphemy. Oh, I don't believe in that. Well, why not? And I don't mean to, divide the sexes, but for a long time, when women were oppressed in, this country, a lot of times women would not think that a woman could do certain things either. They thought, oh, a woman shouldn't be working that type of machinery, or a woman shouldn't be, running for office, or a woman shouldn't be an auto mechanic or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But as time progressed and women did not listen, and they ignored a woman should not be, and became instead, then they were. Okay. And it's the same with anybody. It is women or men. If it was impossible to be, you're never going to be this, you're never going to be that. If you ignore that and just become it, then you don't have to worry about it. It's the same thing with source. There is no limit. And so when you think as source, when you manifest from the perspective of source, or which would be all, then you're going to manifest quickly with more synchronicities, and you're going to start to see patterns because you're creating that world from your thoughts and your manifestation. And some people don't realize that they're creating patterns, and they're creating cycles, and they're creating new worlds within worlds, but they are, because they're creating from source and not from below and not from another perspective, but from, that very essence which creates. They don't ask how it works. They don't care how it works. They just work it, or they become it. That's it. And when a lot of people have been asking me about CERN and all this kind of stuff. Well, and they're studying the God particle and da 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 da. Well, there's no need to be afraid of the God particle if you become the source. Then you create what you want. So no matter how many times they fire it, it doesn't matter. You just create exactly what you want. And a lot of religious people are against science, and oh, they shouldn't be messing with this and they shouldn't be messing with that. It's going to destroy everything. Well, if you manifest that, and that's what you feel and that's what you believe, then that's what you're creating in your world. When someone else thinks a totally different way and says, "Oh, this is going to be cool because I'm manifesting from the perspective of source or the all, and so whatever I want, it will be no matter what." I mean, people can tinker and take apart, um, particles and study and look at things under microscopes or whatever, but that's not going to change how something manifests if you are manifesting from source. And that's it. It's just kind of like, it's not like studying your body is not going to change how it works. Looking at your skin cells, or your arm under a microscope seeing, all these little, things on it, it's not going to change how your arm looks and works and functions. It's just going to give you a closer look and a different perspective. But the same perspective is source because you have several ways of viewing something. So you have all perspectives. You know how they say the all? Well, how many perspectives can you have of an arm? You could be a skin mite on an arm, a dust mite on an arm. You could be a scientist looking through a telescope at the dust mite on the arm. You could be a human looking at your arm. You could be, an ant on a person's arm getting ready to have a juicy meal. So, however many perspectives that there are, that's what you manifest from, all of them. And that's what that book teaches. And a lot of people, they fear their amount of presence, I'll just say presence. They fear their amount of presence. And so they kind of shy away from manifesting from source or as source. And instead, they retreat back into old religious patterns and they don't want that much power. They're afraid they're going to mess it up. They're afraid their intentions aren't true. They don't trust themselves. They feel like, oh, I've messed up my life and I don't want to mess up, anything else. So I'm just going to be an obedient servant and allow, these things to happen. I may manifest every once in a while, but for the most part, I don't want that much responsibility or I don't want to be blamed for anything. But if you think about it, the source or the all or every perspective is already has already created, so you can't mess it up. Okay. It's like you're unable to mess it up. It's already done. And I think a lot of people don't realize that and they still fear. And so they never get a chance to kind of put on those shoes and experience that experience and actually be able to create and live in that which they have created. Um, because they feel like they're losing or others are going to be lost. But if you are source and you have all those perspectives, you can always bring them back in. Okay. You can always have that perspective, the perspective of those that you love, the perspective of those that you, want to meet in your future. And you can bring them all into the world that you're creating. You're not going to lose anything because you're creating from source, and source is the perspective of all. So you're never going to lose anything. Um, how can you stop running back to religion? I feel that I took some notes. Well, I didn't actually take notes. I just started writing and this came out, actually. Sometimes I just write and stuff happens. Hold on, let me find it. Okay. Okay, a lot of research or a lot of learning about spiritual things has led to self actualization in a lot of people and expressing one's own divinity through visualizing a simulated matrix. So basically, you close your eyes and then you imagine what you want the world to be like, right? Whatever you see, that's your creation. That's what you're visualizing. You're visualizing and you're creating from what you want, right? And whatever you're seeing in when your eyes are closed, you're not seeing with your pupils or your physical, eyes right here. You're seeing with your imagination what you're going to create, what can be created, what is created. And you're creating a sort of a matrix simulated visual in your mind, right? And so you're using your mind's eye. And so, like once you see something, you can create that. And a lot of people, open their eyes, and then it becomes the exact opposite. Okay, when you open your eyes, then it's like the exact opposite of creating. It's seeing what has been created from prior to visualizing things. When people make plans or blueprints or they come up with an idea, it starts here first, not here. So when you open your eyes, you're seeing the creation. When you close it, you're seeing the possibilities of creation. So a lot of people run back to religion because they don't realize that in Genesis in the Bible, that, how it begins, in the beginning there was darkness. Your eyes are closed. That's how thoughts begin, in the darkness. Then you imagine. When you create, it's because you're imagining. Okay. And that's why Genesis starts out that way, because everything starts off as a thought in your mind's eye. And then it becomes an idea. And then you start creating it. And when you open your eyes, after you've worked on your creation, then you can see it. So know yourself and understand that you are the creator of everything you see, because it started from someone's thoughts. Okay. Also, the balance. Balance is very important, so people don't run back to religion. Don't always view from that perspective. Take a day off. Even God rested on Sunday, they say. But what that means to me, and I don't know what it means to everyone, but it means take a break sometimes. Go have fun. Get out of that perspective and actually enjoy the world that you've created. And then when it's time to go back to the drawing board, then go back to the drawing board. But don't ever forget who you are. Don't forget that you're in your own story. Don't forget, it's kind of like you have a writer and a director of a film. And sometimes those writers and directors and they start or they play a little role in their own film, and they can't forget that they created that. They like to take a little small role or make a little cameo scene, but their name is still on the credits, in the cast, and as the writer. Okay, so that's how we have to look at it. And I think a lot of people look without and think that there's something more, when if everyone looked within at the same exact time, then that would be looking from the perspective of source. So that's why when they create a mass issue or a massive news story where everyone's focusing on the same thing at the same time, they're then able to kind of push reality into a direction with many people believing and manifesting a similar thing at the same time. So that's why a lot of people don't watch the news. That's why a lot of people just create the life that they want and not worry about other things. So unless you want to participate, this is why when people gather to go to church and pray and focus on similar ideas and things like that, it's because it's a collective way to create reality. This is why a lot of people who spend a lot of time alone or with a very close group of people kind of live in their own world, because they literally create it. They literally create a source of income, a way to live without all the rigmarole. They literally have everything they need. They literally have the ideas that may be frowned upon in society, but in their small circle, they're fine to express the way that they feel and they think without being ridiculed, looked down upon, oppressed, or targeted. So in reality, they're creating their own worlds. You say you can create the news with your subconscious. Yeah, you can do anything. That's what I'm saying. If y'all read that book, y'all will see that however you manifest, depending on which perspective you're manifesting from, are you manifesting from yourself as a human being from this one perspective, or are you manifesting from source, which you do have access to? That's why we can look at our arm because we're not a part of our arm, you know? That's why when you remember your memories, you see yourself and not through your own eyes. You see yourself in the memory like you're watching a movie of yourself. You don't see yourself through your own eyes a lot of times. Sometimes you do, but sometimes you see yourself from a different perspective because we have that. We just are not told that. We're not taught that. We're not told or taught how to manifest from different perspectives, and we're not told our true power. That's for our understanding and our own journey to figure out. So once people figure that out, religion is not a problem. Religion is a way to, I would say, allow certain people to see from a certain perspective. It's just a perspective. That's it. It's like a lens on how you see the world. And there are other lenses, just like in the telescopes that they have to take pictures of the sky. There's different lenses on it to see what you're going to see, you know. So if you change the lens, you see more. And religion is just one of those lenses. It may not be a very powerful lens, but you can see a lot of things with maybe, a lens that will allow you to see some of the planets and the stars. But when you get a different lens that's a lot stronger and more complex and things like that, you're going to see way more. It doesn't mean that the first lens, aka religion, is not, you know, um, a good lens anymore. It's just that now you can see way more and your perspective has broadened. So that's all it is. But sometimes people don't want to see all of that. Just like some people don't want to see all the stuff crawling on their skin. And so they just say, you know what? I'm good. Just give me some lotion, some antibacterial. I don't want to see what's on my skin. I just want to go to sleep at night. You know, those are the type of people who don't need, and I'll say they don't need that perspective. They don't want that amount of responsibility power. They are very happy in whatever they have, and they're thankful for what they got. Da, 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 da. Maybe their thinking is good and positive, and they're not manifesting terrible things in their lives, and da, 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 da. So maybe they're living in that balance. But some people that are very fearful and scared of everything and negative thinking, and they take all the bad things and compile them, that's what they're going to create. So the balance is definitely how you think and your thoughts. But when you want to manifest your own world and major things, I would definitely suggest manifesting from the perspective of source. That means all. That means there is no other way for someone to, stop whatever you're manifesting because it's coming from every direction. Oh, sorry. What do you say when a man asks, "Do you believe in love?" Um, just name the people you love. It's like I love myself, so definitely. You know. What was the name of my book? Here's the link, y'all. It's on Amazon. So, would it make sense to create a new reality and new empowering beliefs rather than try to erase negative? No. Reality it's like a web with a lot of crisscrosses, and it's like a ball of yarn. and you're on one string, and if you turn right slightly, you're on another string. It's just depending on which way you're turning by the decisions that you're making. You don't create a whole new ball of yarn, you just turn in a different direction or make a different decision. And it will lead you to wherever that decision leads you to. Mhm. A lot of people feel like, "Oh, I just wanna go start all over somewhere," but and that would create a way that would, like you would have to destroy humanity and all traces of humanity in order to literally start all over, and you would have to start from the bottom up and be dumb and stupid again and evolve into, a conscious being in order to create a whole different reality. So, that's why it's not done. Mhm. You said I'm losing weight again? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't get on the scale, baby. Um, would it make sense to create okay, I already read that one. You manifest all day long and change your world constantly once you know who you are and that you can change your reality. Wow, synchronicity city. Exactly. And once you realize that, you're fine with the synchronicities. It's like almost expected and whatever, cool. Sometimes, the synchronicities are so, um, I guess, synced that you believe other people are also aware of the synchronicity, and sometimes they may not be, unless they start to see it too. Uh huh. You said it's hard for me to unlearn. I just become more aware. Well, that's another way to do it because, like, if you can't unlearn something, which is understandable, then learn more about something else. That way, you have something to compare it to. And eventually, you're going to create your own belief system or whatever, or just gather the knowledge and have the knowledge to do and make the decisions that you need to make at the time you need to make them. You said, Dawn, that's narcissist love takes two. Well, everybody got two eyes, two holes in their nose. Love yourself. Two arms, two hands. Okay. So honestly, I feel that people like and I've learned that if you are constantly looking for love, it's the same thing as constantly looking for divinity outside of self. It's the same thing. So I'm not like as everyone says it takes two, then look in the mirror. There you go. You know what I'm saying? If we're constantly searching for that person to love me, love me, love me, love me, love me, and then you realize, wait a minute, ain't nobody gonna love me like I love me. So I'm gonna love me until people see, and then they're gonna love me too because they're gonna just vibrate with that frequency. Um, that's it. You said if a person thinks negative, will speaking my negative thoughts automatically transmute to positivity, combat the negative thoughts or outcomes? Only if you create that within your mindset and as a rule, as a law. So for example, a lot of times when people cast spells or perform spells or rituals, they have an incantation or they have words that they say or they put something out into existence. How some people say, oh, so mote it be and harm none. That means I want all this stuff to happen as long as it don't hurt nobody. Or I want everything to turn out in my favor without causing, issues to other people. It's kind of like that. So it's automatically, if there's something negative that is, being thought, you're going to find a way, or other people are going to find a way to transmute that negativity into whatever is beneficial to you. That's how you're manifesting from source. So as your manifesting goes through, like you put your manifestation in as source. No matter how many venues and avenues and twists and turns it has to go through, it's always going to come back to your favor. hmm Why one inner eye? Our whole anatomy is about two. Well, that's why you got three eyes. You got one, two, three. Mhm. That way, when you close these, you still have one. hmm And that's why when you close your eyes and you put onto, like on Stranger Things, how they put 11 into the sensory deprivation chamber so she can focus and become all. And that's why she's always in darkness. So she's manifesting through the darkness as the all. That's why she can see everywhere and everything because she's focusing from one source perspective. Like, this is what connects us all, not this. So this is what connects us all, not these. We had to create another way to connect us all via internet live streaming to even see each other with these, but this was already in place. Okay. You said, isn't the third eye evilness? If that's what you believe, like I said, it's all what you believe. If someone taught you the exact opposite from the time you could understand whatever language you speak, then you would never think that. It's what you've been taught. You know, if it was evil, then why would you be born with it? Oh, let me go ahead and stick this evilness in right here. um, Here you go. So basically, we departed and attached to technology. No, we still have both. That's the beauty of it. We have both. And those who practice using both can advance in both ways simultaneously. Um, as within, so without, as above, so below. That's alchemy. Um, we're supposed to view whatever we've created as a mirror for what is already within. That's why the computer is almost exactly like a brain. So everything we create is from within already, from source. And so everything you can touch, see, taste, and smell is already within. And that's why when you manifest, you go to source, become source, manifest, and it will manifest outside. Don't beg, don't pray, don't fear, be. That's it. And the balance in that is feeling powerful at the same time as not wanting to be powerful. That's deep. This is why I think it's so hard for so many people to kind of manifest the life that they want because power and power within and power without is not going to really create anything. So what I'm saying is it takes someone who doesn't want to be all powerful, but just knows that they are. That's it. Like, it's kind of like not abusing power. So only those who won't abuse power can access it the most. And they try to abuse the power by accessing other people. This is why they have the mass news stories and the fake news stories and the fake news, because they themselves, whoever they is, the people that want to move reality in a certain direction, cannot move that because they want power, therefore they can't have power. So they have to use other people who have no idea they're even powerful, who don't even know that they want power, but they're wanting the same thing as all these people who want power are wanting. And so they're tapping into that energy and using it to get what they want because they can't get it on their own. So I'm saying, don't watch news, John. Unless they handing out your dream car or telling you it's raining money, turn it off, baby. It's kind of like that mirror in Harry Potter. And they hide some secret, thing in there. And only the person who's not looking for it to use it for negative or evil is able to retrieve it. And so that's why a lot of people want to access certain types of people, use certain types of people, get into their minds or try to scare them with the news and things like that. It's because they want to use their energies because they have no idea, that they even want power. They just, in fact, they're ignorant a lot of times that these things are even happening. So they're just being used as pawns. And so the best thing for you to do is turn off the news, get your little book or read my book or close your eyes, whatever you need to do, and start focusing on what you want to create in your life, what you want to see in your world. And if you like the ritual of religion, then you can incorporate that into it as well. Just know that you're able to also view from the perspective of source as well. And if it makes it even easier for you, if you're a Christian, when Jesus said, "The Father and I are not separate," that's basically the same thing as saying, "I manifest as source." Okay. Oh, Percy, sprinkle, sprinkle. Hey, Shira, I love to watch the male lion. I would like to manifest their fearlessness. How do I start? I think the male lion is so beautiful. Well, I don't know. This cause sound like a little bestiality going on over there, Percy. I'm just joking. I mean, I know you're trying to speak in code and stuff. Percy, you're going to have to say regular stuff around here. Sprinkle, sprinkle. How do you cause change in the world using two equally balanced opposing energies? Be the change, baby. Be the source. See, that's where the beauty of the all becomes. So instead of cause and effect, you just be. There's no cause and effect in be. It's a paradox. You know how they say, be the change you want to see in this world. Okay, man in the mirror, baby. Yes, y'all know about my MJ. All right. You said human being. Exactly. You said, do you still use the ghost app? No, I deleted that. I didn't have anybody to ghost hunt with. Everybody's too scared. It's like, people too scary around here. Everybody's fearful. Everybody's scared of stuff. I'm like, that's because, like, in the old days, the real horror movies weren't like these computer generated, CGI stuff. Like, people really had to be an artist to create horror back in the old days. Now everybody's scared of everything. And it's silly because you would think it would be the opposite. Knowing all you can, you create stuff on the computer and it looks real. So I don't know. I just feel like, perhaps I'm just hanging around the wrong types of people. But, perhaps, that's just not their cup of tea and maybe they have other better interests. Okay. How can you manifest self-love and discipline? Um, Close your eyes. You know, close your eyes. It comes through trust, trusting yourself. That's why closing your eyes and trusting yourself and being with your own thoughts, knowing who you are, accepting your flaws as well as the good things about you, not trying to hide them, not trying to make sure that no one sees them. You know, being real with yourself, being honest with yourself, loving every aspect of yourself, not just the good parts. That's how you practice self love and discipline. hmm How to manifest being skinny? Close your eyes and imagine yourself skinny, eating whatever you want, not getting fat. There you go. Okay, how specific should you be when manifesting a partner? Hmm. Well, I think it depends on what circumstance you're manifesting from and why you're manifesting this partner at this specific time. Now, this is going to go deep because a lot of what I've learned is a lot of people manifest their partner or a partner when they feel like they're lacking something or when they're in need. Okay. And so I would say manifest your partner when you don't need one. But if you need one to help you, like I did, then manifest one and understand why they're there and don't expect them to be what you did not manifest. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, like what I teach on my other channel, a lot of ladies want to manifest a man that has money. Okay. They're manifesting because they want someone who is a provider, who can pay these bills, A, B, C, and D. So they are manifesting for that. Now, if they want to add on to the list, I want the perfect man who can do all of the above, then that perfect man is probably also going to be manifesting that perfect woman as well. So it has to line up. The synchronicities have to match. So therefore, this is this is funny. This is why people have different partners. This is why people have marital issues. This is why people cheat. And this is why people have, you know, friends and such and such. Because when they manifested their partner, they couldn't manifest everything that they wanted because they were not going to be everything that that partner wanted them to be as well. You said you manifested $2 and it worked, and you gave it to me, Percy? Oh, sprinkle, sprinkle. Appreciate that. We'll go manifest some more and come back. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So there you go. Just like when people manifest a job. Oh, I'm manifesting a job. Why not manifest owning a business? Why not manifest because you don't feel like you're responsible enough? You don't have the discipline to run a business. You fear you're going to fail. You just want to work and get this check so you can go out to the club next week. You're not worried about all that. So when you manifest a job, you get a job. Then you start complaining about that job and you're like, you know what? Then you start to change how you manifest. Okay, well, I want a different job. I want to start my own business on the side. I want to do this, and that. So it's very similar to manifesting from circumstance. So I basically recommend when you manifest from a place that you feel like you're going to be able to grow and have, be peaceful with. You said you was lurking in the bushes. You a mess. What about abundance and opportunity? I'm always fearful I will make the wrong decision, but then I stay still. Just make any decision. It's always going to be the decision, the right decision. Because, like I said, when you manifest from source and you manifest, anything that you manifest is going to be beneficial to you and turn out great and exactly how you want it to be. Then there's no wrong choices. You know, it's not about the wrong choices. It's just how you feel you will handle when those opportunities arrive, how you're going to handle it. Are you ready to handle it? Are you mentally ready to handle it? Because I know a lot of people that manifested certain things and they didn't think about a lot of things that come with what they're manifesting. You know what I'm saying? Like some people will manifest, oh, I want to meet this person and that type of person, or I want to marry a billionaire or a millionaire. But what comes with that? What comes with that? You know, and sometimes what you don't want comes with that. And so a lot of times, if you have manifested for everything to be beneficial to you and work all in your favor, a lot of times you're not going to manifest those problems that come with that certain thing or person you've manifested. So with them comes their problems as well. So in order to manifest the type of job, opportunity, or person that you want, you need to manifest something with the least amount of problems that you can deal with, because there's always going to be problems, but which ones can you deal with and which ones you can't deal with? hmm Like, let's say you manifest a six-figure salary job, but they don't tell you that your salary is a salary, but you're going to be working 60 hours a week. You know, they don't tell you you got to work all holidays and whenever they call you and 60 hours a week, but your salary looks good. They don't tell you how they're going to take advantage of your time and energy through making you work all those different hours that you probably would be getting paid more for if you were on the clock. Okay. So manifesting from source point of view, um, coming out of religion is simply taking yourself into the perspective of how the Bible starts in the beginning. The Bible starts you off as the source. Let me say that again. The Bible starts you off as the source. And then it paints this picture that artists, writers, and people then begin to create through painting figures and Last Suppers and images and thoughts that they saw when they imagined how they wanted their world to be. But the Bible literally does start you out from source perspective. So that's a way to kind of get your mind around the religion and the way you want to view it, whether you feel like it's wrong or correct. It is what it is. And there's no right or wrong. There's just perspective. It's like there's no truth. There's just perspective. hmm True. So anyway, this subject that I'm talking about, you know, I would have never really tried to explain all of this in such a nice way if it weren't for someone telling me to try to be respectful of people that still, have religious beliefs and kind of ease them and just stimulate parts of their mind to think in a different way. Because y'all know how I am. I will just blurt it out and say, just do this, just do that. But I know that some people are raised in religion and it's kind of hard to unlearn unless you have something else to add to it, replace it with, or compile with it that makes you feel comfortable. So, sometimes a lot of people, um, and I'm guilty of it, teach from their perspective and their perspective only when a lot of people aren't able to view from your perspective because they haven't lived your life or your experience. So I think taking one similar idea or like a Bible and using the perspective that it first starts in is very helpful for allowing other people to see, at least that. You said baby steps. Exactly. Um, so yeah, I normally I realize I get caught up in my own beliefs because I'm caught up in creating my own world and I'm caught up in creating everything that I want. That sometimes, people that are trying to get there and do the same thing, they need the baby steps. That's why I wrote the book. But when you're trying to explain it and you're not sitting here reading from your book, or people don't have the book, then they may not be able to kind of see from that perspective, or they may feel a little bit disrespected because, their religion and things like that. So I feel like once you get on a certain path and you start gaining all this knowledge and your perspective can see from so many different angles, it's like pick one. And sometimes you forget that a lot of people are only seeing from their perspective or the one that they grew up learning about. And they have not really expanded their perspective or have as many perspectives as you do yet. And they need to know that there are more perspectives and more ways of interpreting, or more ways of decoding, or more ways of viewing something than just the one way that they were taught. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so this is, a lot of the times people who are searching a different path than the religion that they grew up in may be looking for a segue or a way to understand or get on a different path from a different, cycle. And this may be a way for them to say, "Oh, okay, well, this isn't too scary, and now I kind of see, and you know, da 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 da." And it's not, you know, not making them feel stupid or dumb for not having all this knowledge or knowing it, because I wrote a book, I'm explaining it, and there's so many different perspectives out there to read about, and it's not a rush. Take your time, be comfortable, go at your own pace. Have I ran into any paradoxes lately? I don't think I've ran into any. I feel like I think I have exactly what I need. And a lot of times, if you trust yourself and you trust how you think, and that everything that you manifest and create is going to benefit you, then I think the paradox is yourself. And I think since we can't be our own paradox, or we have to, communicate with other people outside of ourselves, then we choose someone that reminds us of ourselves, or we kind of are attracted, or we kind of gravitate towards like-minded people who will tell us the truth just like we will tell others the truth, or we don't someone who won't candy coat it, but someone who also will have, a way of explaining things that just clicks, even if it takes a little while, but it will click. It's kind of like communicating with yourself through another perspective. Hmm. You said you did a spell for this guy to get closer to you, and the next day he stopped talking altogether? Well, honestly, I feel like maybe they maybe it wasn't for you. You know what I'm saying? I think if a person wants to get closer to you, they will move at their own speed and pace. Like, for example, um, if someone liked me and they did a spell on me and I didn't like them, it's not going to work anyway. you know, it has to be both ways. Mhm. So, they have to have some type of interest in you in order for that to work. Or not interested in anything else or anyone else at that time. Has to be you and only you. You say, why do people do spells on people? Um, I think a lot of people like to see how their abilities will manifest to other people or in other people or for, you know, the attention of other people. But I feel like if you are trying to put a spell on anyone, if they're not into you, it's just not really gonna run its course. It has to be both ways. Mhm. Mhm. You said do a general attraction spell instead of on a specific guy. Exactly. That way, anyone who's attracted to you with, whatever it is that you look for in a particular partner, write that along with that in general. Mhm. You said you have a wealthy and generous man in your life and he wants a serious relationship and I desire the same, but I don't desire to be intimate with him. At least not yet. Hopefully that will change. LOL. Well, I feel like a lot of times like men want to rush because I feel like maybe they associate closeness, love, and I guess lust with physical, affection and showing in, sex and things like that. But I also feel that if you don't really know someone or you don't, study them or you don't really know them, then once that feeling wears off, then, it's kind of like, okay, well, maybe we don't have that much in common anymore. Or maybe I just pretended to have all these things in common with you so I could get you in the bed or whatever, whatever. But at the same time, you got to know that after that, you're still going to be as mentally stimulated as you were physically stimulated. So make sure you kind of think about that. If you don't really have a lot in common with him, hold off on sleeping with him. Sparkle, sparkle. Today, this lady had a very feminine voice like you, Shira. I felt like it was a spell. It sounded refreshing to me as a man. Can that be a spell? Of course, it's the frequency that she put you on. When people speak and that's the tones of their voice are spells. Mhm. Yeah. You said, "Are you on an Apple or Android?" Who, me? Why with freezer spells you always do no harm done. Good for you. So, another thing is like a lot of people don't want to be all this powerful perspective and always seeing or manifesting as source. Sometimes they want to also sit back and enjoy the show or the life that they've manifested and not always have to feel like they're in that position. And sometimes you are so into manifesting as source and all these synchronicities start coming through and you feel like you're responsible for them. And so you start feeling a feeling of responsibility. This is why when you see very rich or influential people or very powerful people that have a large following be held responsible for a certain thing. Why do people literally gravitate towards people that are super famous or have a lot of power or money and say, well, why aren't you doing more for the world? Why aren't you doing more for this? Why aren't you doing more for that? Because subconsciously, they feel like this person has enough influence, money, and power to create something that the normal average person can't create. And so a lot of times people will make them feel like they should be doing more. When it comes to manifesting as source, when you start seeing certain synchronicities and things like that, and you feel like you are the cause because you manifested as source, then you start to feel like a lot of things may be by, your creation. And so in order to balance that, you have to ground yourself and do something else very frivolous and fun and childlike, or, just back into the material world. And so you got to make sure you're able to keep that balance. Like go on vacation, have a good time, do a little bit of this, watch a movie, read a fiction novel. It doesn't always have to be on creating, manifesting, and learning, and always, trying to read or learn about something spiritual. Sometimes you're going to need that balance so that you can actually enjoy what it is you're creating. hmm And what I feel is like when you say celebrities are a boxed zoo, I mean, if me creating or manifesting in the perspective of source makes me feel a certain type of way, then I can only imagine if I had more followers or more, quote unquote fans or people that were expecting me to be a certain way or I have to uphold a certain image or I can't say what I want to say, those people become the box. You know what I'm saying? Those people become the prison. Everyone around those people expects so much out of them that they become the prison. Their own fans, their own following, their own, supporters become their prison. And if they say the wrong thing, if they say this or if they say that, then all of a sudden, quote unquote, people will cancel them. And so it is not all what it's cracked up to be, but what it is a sense of responsibility. But I think what most people need to remember is that these people are also people too, and they also need that freedom to express their individuality and also be grounded as well without the world on their shoulder expecting them to always say the right thing, do the right thing, um, and da da da. Sometimes people expect too much out of people and they don't really have that authority, but they assert themselves as source when it comes to other people, and I don't see why they can't do that in reverse for their own lives. Uh-oh, sprinkle, sprinkle. Your love spells aren't working on your narcissistic husband, then stop doing them. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Do them on yourself to become a more narcissistic person than he is so that they will work. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Do a love spell on yourself to be irresistible to that narcissistic husband of yours. There you go. When a narcissist fall in love, it's crazy. But make sure it's beneficial to you. There you go. It's like, do a love spell for narcissists to fall head over heels in love for you and give you whatever you want and forget that they're narcissists only when they're around you. Okay? It's like when they walk in your presence, they're automatically, unless they're super narcissists, then y'all just better be the best narcissists y'all can be together. That's all I can tell you. From your experience, how would you define synchronicity? When things add up, make sense very smoothly, quickly, and you can connect the dots and draw the entire picture. Um, it's kind of like one of those connect the dot things when every dot connects and makes the picture that it makes. That's the synchronicity. Um, for example, you could be doing something, and at the exact same time, if you're watching a video or a commercial or a movie, they can say the exact thing you're doing at the exact same time. That's one form of synchronicity. You know what I mean? Or when you speak a word and maybe something on the radio or whatever you're listening to, or a whole different person is saying the exact same thing at the exact same time. Those are synchronicities. Or when you just said something and then it suddenly manifests within a minute of when you said it. Um, you said love is a deep kind of crazy love. Hmm. Okay. You said you whispered to a dead person to make your crush fall in love with you, and now you don't want him no more because he's dusty. How can it make that spell invalid or cut cord? You're scared. You better put a feather duster over your door. Sleep with some pledge next to you, girl. Honestly, this is why you do the spell that nothing is going to be everything is going to be beneficial to you. You know what I'm saying? So you should not fear dust. You got pledge, you got feather dusters, you got Swiffers. You're fine. Windex, dream catcher. Replace what you fear with something that you want. So, for example, y'all see over here, got money, money tree, money bag. You start you a money bowl, put it on your altar, your dresser, or nightstand, or wherever. I have a money bowl spell in my playlist, and just keep adding your loose change, your money, sprinkle some money drawing herbs and oils over it daily until you no longer thinking about no dust. Okay. Mhm. You said whisper to another person. Go scream at a live person. That might help reverse it. I don't want no dusting. There you go. There you go. Seeing certain numbers constantly are definitely a thing. Okay. If someone's dusty and like, okay, first of all, if you manifested them and they weren't dusty and then they became dusty, then the universe will automatically unmanifest that person for you because that's not what you manifested. Okay. So that person is no longer what you manifested. They're transforming, and the universe will definitely be unmanifesting that if that's no longer what they are to you. So, so let's say you manifested this man because he was paid, he had money, you liked him. Now all of a sudden he's not. So therefore, the manifestation shouldn't be sticky because he's not what you wanted. He's not what you manifested anymore. Hmm. He said narcissists don't love or like themselves, and that's why they need other people to fill the void. They can only love the way you make them feel or what you do for them. I think honestly, I mean, I don't know. Some people say I'm a narcissist, some people say I'm not. But how I feel about that is it's the exact opposite. I feel like people are so in love with themselves that they want other people to be able to see the same thing on the same level. And sometimes when people are unable to see that, it may be a little bit frustrating to the other person. I don't feel like there's a void. I feel like a lot of people are just blind. And instead of coming off and just sitting there bragging about all the things that you love and like about yourself that other people should see, which would be very conceited, they just hope that you get to see it. They hope that you listen. They hope that you read between the lines. They want you to see them. And only some people will because they feel the same way because they are also narcissists too. You said be your own sales pitch. What do this manifest in our lives take on the act that we all experience too? It depends on what you want and what's good for you. Um, you can get as creative as you want as long as it's beneficial to you and doesn't really cause any issues for other people. Then be as creative as you want. I mean, we have so many ways of creating now. We have so much technology now, and so many things are possible. Don't limit your mind or your imagination. Just think of different ways or perspectives you can get what you want. Hmm. So don't be so limited on what you can manifest. Be limited of what you can't manifest. You know, like what can't I manifest? Write a list of things that you don't want to manifest and focus on everything else that you can and want to manifest. And then put in motion, that everything you do manifest is going to be beneficial to you and all those around you. You're going to be fine. Hmm. Is okay. So, do y'all have any questions on what we've been discussing? Um, Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, thank y'all for everybody who has donated. Appreciate y'all and everyone who's hit the like button. Y'all hit that like button now. If y'all haven't yet, I would definitely appreciate it. You need help manifesting a healthier relationship after a damaging event they created. Um, I don't know if that has to be on both sides, you know what I mean? Because if the event wasn't damaging to one person and it was to the other, then that's going to be hard. So I think both people have to agree and talk about what happened in order to move forward. And I feel like if one doesn't see from the same perspective as, whoever was hurt the most or was damaged the most, they have to kind of also understand and be willing to deal with whatever comes with that. I don't know. And there's never just moving on. There's dealing with what did happen and working around all of that. Okay. The person must have a say. Exactly. Like, make sure they understand the damage that was caused, and if both people are willing to um, work past that, then that's something that they can do. You said your friend's husband was messing around with a mistress, and the mistress put a spell on him, and he started acting crazy. And now my friend is half blind, don't understand what's happening. I'm sorry, that's not funny, but it's funny. The way that I read it. Um, was it worth it? Maybe it was worth it, baby. And he don't need to see that much. He can close his eyes and remember. All right. He was worth it. It was probably worth it if he did all that. He, he can close his eyes and see. All right. You said no, the wife went blind. But then she ain't got to look at him no more. Just collect his money. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. Have you thought about manifesting being really skilled in a certain talent or hobby? No. I don't want to be skilled or talented in any certain hobby because then, honestly, I feel like that would be too focused on one thing when I like to focus on several things at once. And if I was too pulled in one direction, I would not feel like I could be myself. And if I became really good at something, I would, people would recognize that, and then I would be held to a certain standard which I did not create for myself. And so I feel like a lot of times if it's if it was more of something that was private or something that I did not have to share with the world, then perhaps. You went to tap back into a few hobbies but want to accelerate your learning, honestly. Mhm. So, do elixirs help you learn faster? Yes. Those elixirs are definitely helpful when it comes to thinking and manifesting, and neurons in your brains firing at a faster pace and connecting dots faster and becoming more aware. That's what those elixirs are for. Um, and the different levels and stages always start with phase one. 1 full ounce is recommended, but there are half-ounce sizes for those who want to try it first and then order a second bottle if they can't afford the full price of the um, full ounce. I did split it up for people that are on a budget, but supposed to be taking in 1 full ounce. Couple of drops daily. The instructions actually come with it. So follow them when you get them. It's printed paper. And you'll definitely see a lot of results for the positive in your life. There's a link to the elixirs. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay. Do I sell irresistible love spells? Now, if I had an irresistible love spell, do you think I'd be up here on YouTube talking to y'all? Or would I be somewhere with somebody else? Yeah, I gotta think, y'all. We need some common sense over here. Do you think if I had an irresistible love spell that would work on any man, that I would have time to do these videos? Okay, think about it. Where would I be? You tell me. Okay. I mean, I might still be on here. He might be sitting beside me or something. I don't know. We don't know. Anyway, you said, do you have a spell for a new enemy just discovered? How about a spell that you have no enemies? That way you will never discover them because there will never be. You know what I mean? I like that's what I always tell people. People always ask me, do I have enemies? I don't have any enemies. Never have, never will. I don't compete, therefore I have no enemies. I just do me. If you don't like it, you your own enemies. Improve yourself. Don't be bothered with me. Okay. There. Even if you don't personally, okay, how do you manifest the talent? Practice. And every time you practice, even if you're not that good, visualize yourself becoming better each time you practice. So, for example, if you are taking some type of musical lesson, like maybe playing the guitar or piano or something like that, every time you practice, before you start, visualize yourself playing better than the day you practiced before. Visualize you getting more notes correctly. Hear the notes being correctly before you play them. So every day, visualize your improvement before you even touch the keyboard or the strings. And you'll see that you will improve. But you need to manifest and you need to practice because you can't just manifest something and never practice because that would be silly. Um, Even all the geniuses and occultists, they had to, that's why they call it practicing medicine, practicing magic, practicing this, practicing that, because in order to become great at something, you must practice it. Even if it fails 1,000 times, then you go back to the drawing board and rework it and revisualize it working correctly. And that's when you start finding the kinks in the problem areas. And then you say, okay, well, it's because I'm losing confidence at this moment in time when I get the wrong note. Or it's because I forgot to add this piece in to the, invention. And now that I'm focusing and visualizing and seeing with my mind's eye instead of only focusing on what I've already created instead of what I haven't created yet or what I haven't done yet, then that's where you're going to find your talent is going to increase daily. You said, how do you visualize making more money if you don't know what will bring me more money? Visualize things that will bring you more money. Start to visualize ways of making more money. Anyway, start off with the simplest thing and then let your mind expand from there with the ideas, like kids do. Kids want money, the parents say no. What do? They go start grabbing stuff and or trying to make lemonade to sell or trying to do chores. They start figuring out how to get their money. Um, and before long, they may stumble upon a business venture or whatever. So just start thinking of all the ways that you can make money with what you have now and see what that turns into, you know. And I actually wrote a book on how to actually do that. And it's on Amazon. It's called How to Do What You Love. And it gives you several ideas on how to make money from what you already have now or little of nothing. How to start getting paid with what you already have and not having to like start this big complex type of business venture, but how to get paid on today, tomorrow. So that book is there for you guys, How to Do What You Love. It also expands into how to actually do what you love to do and um, kind of switch over from working, a 9 to 5 and into your own. But it gives you the ideas, how to think, the methods on how to, become brave enough to do certain things and resources and ways to kind of balance both until, what you are doing for yourself or how you're making your money on the side can actually replace your 9 to 5. So it's a good book and it's very easy and simple to understand. And a lot of times people just need a bunch of information gathered in one place to make it all click, and that's what that book is. You said, what's the difference between using dark energy and shadow energy? Dark is unknown. Shadow is known because it's, there's light. Okay. So when I say manifest as source, that's dark cosmic energy or just, you know, because it's unknown. Like you don't know how every part of your body works, but you know how to breathe, you know how to walk, your heart knows how to beat, but you don't know how all of that works. It's unknown to you. So it's dark until you learn it, right? So dark cosmic energy or dark is unknown. You don't know how something works, but you know how to use it. You don't know how a car works unless you're a mechanic, but you know how to drive. So it's kind of like that. Shadow energy, I would say, is just working with the part of yourself that is less shown to the world or less acceptable to the world, and maybe working with things about yourself that you could improve on or whatever, accepting those things. But when I say dark, I mean unknown and don't care. You know what I'm saying? Unbothered and unknown. Like, I don't know how it worked, but it's going to work for me. Okay. We use it every day and we don't realize it. Every contraption that we use, we don't know exactly how it works. It's dark, but we know that it works and we know how to use it. So it's unknown to us how something works. It may be known to another person exactly how it works, but to us it is dark. Um, so working with dark magic, dark cosmic energy is working with unknown things, but you know that they will work. It's working with source. Like a lot of people say, well, how do you believe in God? Or if you believe in God, you can't see it, you can't prove it. It don't matter. It's going to work. Is manifesting as source working for you? Then who cares? It's working. It's like, like I don't know how this computer works, and you know, um, but I'm going to use it anyway. So it's kind of like that. Do you recommend casting money spells, or would manifesting abundance and prosperity work better? If you manifest a money spell and you find a penny, your spell has come into fruition. Okay. So I recommend manifesting ways for money to continuously flow and increase in your life. Ideas that make money to continuously flow and that you can actually use. See, it's not about the money itself because a penny is money. You got to think like source. You got to think like a penny is known, but an increase in financial prosperity and abundance that continuously grows by whatever means it comes in is unknown. And so that's working with dark energy, dark cosmic energy. You're not manifesting money because money is known. You're manifesting all of that which is unknown in whatever way it comes in, as long as it's beneficial to you and those around you. And, and harms none or whatever. It doesn't matter how much it comes as long as it's increasing steadily. Your ideas are increasing steadily and you're becoming more abundant and prosperous. Okay, but if you just do a specific money spell, you're limiting yourself. You said, are love spells counterproductive? I don't think so. If you love something that much, do a love spell on yourself first. You know what I'm saying? If you love anything more than yourself, then it is counterproductive. Do a love spell on yourself first. I mean, it's hard to love someone who doesn't love themselves. I love myself so much. Okay. But are love, if you're loving yourself and you love those people that are closest to you, and you try to perform a love spell, you have something to draw. You have the feeling of love to vibrate with. But if you don't have that, if you don't feel love, if you don't feel love for yourself or other people, what are you drawing from? What is the energy that you're pulling from? Can't do love spells if you don't have love. It's just like when you do a money spell. What are the things that you gather? You gather some money, maybe some ancestor money, green candles, things that represent money. You think about money. You feel like you're supposed to feel when you got money. You visualize yourself having money, spending money. But if you don't have it and you've never had it, or you feel like it's difficult to get, it's going to be hard to vibrate on the energy of having money. So you need to have love already to do better love spells. That's why you need to love yourself and those people around you. Or at least you don't have to love everyone around you, just at least a couple or one good one. I don't know. Pets, children, whatever. I don't care. Goldfish. There you go. Have you tried the cord cutting candle spell? I never tried that spell, baby. Don't need to cut cords. If somebody need to cut a cord with me, by all means, let them do it. But I don't cut cords. I mean, even when I gave birth, somebody else cut that cord. Sprinkle, sprinkle. It's like I didn't get down there and cut it. If somebody want to cut a cord, cut a cord. That's what you feel like. If you, first of all, your perspective is wrong on that. Why should you have to cut a cord? Why can't they cut a cord? That's my perspective. Like, I don't need to cut cords. I'm good. You said you tried a cord cutting spell and a month later he died. Well, honestly, if they're not cutting that cord on their own, then just leave it, baby. That's why you can ignore people. That's why you can stay unbothered by people. Cutting a cord is not something that if you're not bothered by it, needs to be done. A lot of people aren't bothered by stuff. Okay. You said vampiric magic. Okay. You need to try cord cutting spell on your ex. See, y'all aren't manifesting from a place of strength. Y'all are manifesting from a place of weakness. And this is why I say a lot of people, if you're gonna do any type of spell, make it beneficial. Beneficial. Like instead of doing a cord cutting spell, make it give me some money spell. Pay these bills spell. You know what I'm saying? Dream about me spell. Something. Why you gotta cut people off all the time? That's my thing. Like, you might need them in the future, you never know. They might need you in the future. Y'all might have to get to do business together one day. Cutting cords is for people that feel like they can't move on. I've been moving on. You have been moving on. People move on every day. It's just that if people think, okay, let me cut this cord, then I can move on. No, because you're going to think about cutting the cord. Then you're like, I did a cord cutting spell. And then this happened. And then you're still thinking about it. So it doesn't matter. Okay. Think about that. How many people remember doing a cord cutting spell and the results that it had? You still think about it. So it didn't work. But if you don't do cord cutting spells, eventually the person's not in your life anymore. You're not going to think about them anymore. Each day that goes by is going to be another day, and then it gets easier and easier. Just like when you accept someone's death, or you accept someone has broken up with you or leave you. It's just a matter of time, and that's it. When you vibrate high enough, the right people will vibrate to you, and those that don't align naturally fall away and disappear. That's right. What if you're able to disconnect from someone due to children being involved? Then hopefully they on child support. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Okay, as long as they cut that check, I think that's all that matters. Sprinkle, sprinkle. All right. No, nobody cares. Like, y'all are asking silly questions. Y'all already know that people's families are complicated. This day and age, either, it's complicated and it is what it is. If you can deal with it, you can. If you can't, then you can't. There. Mm. Okay. Is that all the question? Have you always loved yourself like this, or did you grow to love yourself? Um, I think I started really getting into myself like when I was in junior high and high school. Like you try to start looking cute, and you start developing your talents, and you just start growing mentally and learning and seeing how smart you are. It's like all the things about you that were improving, you start to accept and love and, admire. So I think it started when I was, young. It's just I noticed it. I was very aware of it, and um, I spent a lot of time with myself. I didn't ask for other people's opinions. I had my own of myself, and I spent a lot of time, you know, um, thinking about how I wanted to be, and that's what I became. Mhm. You say he ain't never paid for child support? I don't know what to tell you. Like, I mean, in some states they get arrested if they don't pay. Who knows? Do you believe that you can manifest any? SP? What's the SP? How do you connect with ancestors you haven't met? um, do you want to meet them? And this comes with the territory. Like, think about when the era they came from. Think about their mindset. Think about how they view things, their fears, all of that before you decide you want to connect with someone. Um, think about your lifestyle and if they would approve of it or not. And then decide to connect if you feel like it's going to go smoothly. I would definitely say um, maybe the era that they were born in, probably get stuff that was from that era, maybe from an antique shop, create a little ancestor altar and, you know, use their name, call on their names if you have their names. A lot of people could use ways of finding, their ancestors by different things online. But set up a little ancestor altar if you want to connect with them. hmm What would you do if James didn't pay his child support? If that ever occurred and James was on child support, he would pay. hmm Because he knows I'm crazy and I don't care. So there would be like there would be no choice. That's it. You wouldn't even think about not paying. Okay. Okay. Is candle spell the most powerful method? What is your favorite way? Any method that you feel the most powerful. Candles to me are just a reminder, just, to focus. It's also a way where you don't all constantly have to stay in a frequency because the candle is holding that frequency. And so that you can focus on other things. So it's a way to multitask and also remember when you look at it what you are manifesting, but not always have to stay in that frequency because the candle is in that frequency for you. Um, that's why a lot of people use candles. So your Manifest with Dark Energy book isn't available. Okay, well then, yes, you can buy the the real copy, the physical copy. It has charts and pictures in there and everything. So a physical copy is going to be a lot better anyway. Um, Plus, there's a picture of me on it, so you know, added bonus, sprinkle, sprinkle. Um, get the physical copy. Okay. Anyway, y'all are silly. Some of y'all's messages are inappropriate. That's why you can't see them. Um, you said manifesting energy. You feel like you can never keep up with your to-do list. Then stop making to-do lists. Don't run yourself crazy. This is what I do. Suggestions. Write down what you want to do, but not what you have to do. Put in stuff that you got to get done on the top and all the other stuff at the bottom. So, for example, if you know you got to go pick up something or mail something, put that at the top. Okay. And put the other stuff that's less important at the bottom. And if you don't, if as long as you get to like at least 3 or 4 of those, you're good. The other stuff, If it's not an emergency situation that can't wait for the next day, then let it wait. Don't put all that pressure on yourself. Like if you don't get all that done in one day, what's going to happen? Is the world going to end? No. So just do what the most important things on your list are first. And maybe try to get them, the night before if you can, if you have some extra time, or do whatever it is on your list in bits and pieces. And if you want to manifest energy, um, definitely go outside, get some sunlight, maybe use crystals to absorb, energy from the sun, and maybe like hold it in your hand, like when you need extra energy. Eat more plants and vegetables, drink you some coffee, you know, take your B12s, all the normal stuff. And don't let people drain your energy. Don't be around people that drain your energy. If they're not talking about nothing that's beneficial, walk away. Okay? Because a lot of times people will drain your energy and then you won't have any energy for yourself. You just like, you know what? I don't care. Write it down. Bye. Email me. Bye. Gotta go. Bye. Or get your earbuds, stick them in your ear, and don't listen to what they're saying. A lot of times people drain your energy just by talking too much. And whatever they're saying is non-beneficial. So let's move on. Would you recommend getting one card out of the tarot deck as guidance for that day? If that's what you want. A lot of people can do that. A lot of people do flipping through a book and putting their hand on a word or a sentence. I mean, whichever way you want to get guidance, choose that way. Sometimes you can just go to someone's Instagram and click on their Instagram and there go your guidance. Sometimes you can pull an oracle card. Sometimes you can flip through a book. Sometimes you can, turn the TV on and see what show's on. It's like whatever you choose. It's your world. Remember that. Either way, you're going to get a message. And whether you decide to listen to that message or not is up to you. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad, but that's just a path or a direction that you could take. Do I do hexes or do I avoid all that stuff? I don't know if I do hexes on like I don't know enough people or I don't know anybody to do a hex on. You know what I'm saying? If somebody did something to me or bothered me in such a way that I couldn't get over it, like I stay unbothered most of the time. So you would have to really get to me to do any type of hex or spell on you. Um, but definitely, like I'm so wrapped up into what I am doing, and I have so many things that I do. Like I don't even really think about any of those things. So it's kind of hard to have someone to do a hex on when you don't really communicate a lot with different people, and you're just more focused on what you're doing, your goals, your career, books, YouTube, get kids, and all that kind of stuff. Like I don't have time to do hexes on anyone because I don't know enough people to do hexes on. If that makes sense. But and it's kind of funny because the less people that you interact with, the less people you have to do hexes on. There you go. Like the less people that there are to do hexes on. Now you can do protection spells, like if anyone tries to harm me, it's not gonna happen and da 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 da. That's more for protection. But at the same time, if someone is putting hexes on you because they don't like you, I'm not like I really wouldn't worry about that because if you're unbothered, then those hexes not gonna work anyway. Mhm. Right. And sometimes it's not a hex. Sometimes, like some people think, oh, I'm hexed or there someone put a spell on me. Sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes you put that on yourself by what you're thinking about. You know, You are manifesting whatever it is you think someone else did to you when they probably didn't do anything. Mhm. So, also think about that. Like, why do you think someone did a spell on you? Did they tell you they did a spell on you? Did they show you that they did a spell on you? Why did you come to that conclusion? So sometimes it's your own mind. Sometimes people didn't do anything to you and you just think that they did. And then you form your own conclusion and opinion on what was done to you, why it was done to you, and then you create that whole scenario on your own. I've seen people actually do that. Nobody even was bothering with that person, but in their mind, somebody did this because they had no one else to blame. They didn't look within and see what they had, done to create these circumstances in their own life. So they look for someone else to blame. hmm if you think you're hexed, make go down this list. If you think you're hexed, okay, are all your bills paid on time? Do you pay them companies? Number two, do you show up to work or do whatever you need to do to get paid in order to get paid? Do you show up to work on time? You do whatever you need to do to get paid. Okay, check. Do you hang around people that are negative and bring problems and issues into your life? Okay. No, you go to work on time. You do what you got to do to get your money. You don't hang around crazy people that brings negativity in your life. Okay, so you shouldn't be hexed if you're making smart decisions. Now, if you're making all these dumb decisions, you're probably in your own way. So a lot of times people say they're hexed, but then I ask them why they didn't go to work, why they didn't pay their bills, why they spent it on drinking and going to the club instead of paying their light bill, like why they let 2 months go by without paying rent. Now they got an eviction notice. They're not hexed, they're irresponsible. So don't be blaming it on stuff like that if you're not holding up your end of making smart decisions of life. You say your dad did bad magic on your hair and you losing it, girl. Get a wig, sparkle, sparkle. You'll put it back if you look good with the wig. Sprinkle, sprinkle. And why would your dad do bad magic on your hair? That sounds crazy. Like honestly, do some magic on his testicles. Sprinkle, sprinkle. There you go. Tit for tat. You say your dad evil? Then take away what he loved most. You go. I'm sorry. I mean, like honestly, like okay, well, if 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 people are doing stuff against you and you don't like it and you can do something about it, then do something about it. But honestly, who cares? There are people out here with full heads of hair, with full heads of hair on top of their hair. There are people out here with bald heads, with hair down to their booty, and nobody knows the wiser. So, this is a wig. Get you a cute wig, girl. You might get some more money. Sparkle, sparkle. Um, and honestly, here's a thing. Here's a good way to combat that spell. Manifest the exact opposite. Instead of saying your dad did bad magic to make on your hair to make it fall out, say your dad did good magic on your hair to make it grow. You're the cause. Not you don't, You don't take the effects. You don't accept what somebody think they did to you. You create what you want to happen. So turn that around, transmute that into your hair growing in even thicker and more luxurious and even longer. That will mess him up. Okay? Don't accept. Why do y'all accept this? Stop accepting. Like, it's like in a relationship. If somebody brings you something that you don't want, throw it back. Throw it on the floor, put it in the garbage, and go get what you want. You said you took off your hijab. Girl, I burn that thing and wear your hair. And get a wig. Sprinkle, sprinkle. That's what I do. I burn it on YouTube. Wear my hair, get a wig, do something. Put on some tight clothes and some red lipstick. You need some red lipstick too, girl. Okay. We'll just go all out. So you need number 13 and Level Up Cosmetics. Girl, I will burn it. Never mind. See that y'all gonna get sick of it sooner or later, and y'all gonna start burning them, poisoning them, making salmonella chicken and ground glass rice. You didn't hear it from me, but anyway. I know he don't expect you to cook for him no more. You should start putting all the hair that fell out in his food. Don't get me mad because you know I have creative ideas. Take every hair from your brush, every hair that fell, go like this, and sprinkle it all up in his food. Every time he take a bite, he gonna get a bite. Okay? You're like, well, you better reverse it then. I got some more where that came from. Start shaving your other hairs from other places and sprinkle that in there too. Anyway. You said you love arts and crafts? Yes. You said too creative. So you took off your hijab and he did a spell to make your hair fall out, then put all that hair in his food and do a spell for him to enjoy his meals without complaining. Okay. Y'all too nice. They wouldn't mess with me because you know me, I'm crazy. They'd be eating some interesting things. I'm telling you that. I'll just be grabbing stuff from outside and putting it in the food. I don't know what this is, but it looked like go in this pot. I know what that. I'll go get some. Go to the dog park and gather my ingredients for the meal. Anyways, sprinkle, sprinkle. It's a new recipe. Okay. Anyway. Well, I'm sorry that that happened to you, but you know what to do now. Okay, sprinkle, sprinkle. Hmm. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Y'all hit the like button. For strong manifestations, do you just visualize reminding yourself and raising your frequency, dark energy? Become source. Like manifest what you want, create what you want as source. Like in the beginning, be source. That's what they bring you to in the Bible in the beginning. Manifest from that point right there. Not from your perspective as a human, but go and become source. And then, here's my book, and it explains every step on how to manifest as source. And you will definitely be able to see your manifestations coming faster, better, and more specific, depending on what you're manifesting anyway. And it will also explain how things work in a very simple way, and also why things may not work depending on what you're manifesting. And so it's kind of be a guide and a way to understand how and what you can manifest and actually acquire versus why you can't manifest certain things at certain times. Not that you'll never be able to manifest them, but at certain times where you're unable to do certain things. So just read that book and you'll get a better understanding. You said when you say source, you just pretend like you're God. No, you're not pretending. You are. So um, I was explaining earlier, you are not pretending, but you are. And then you come back to your perspective as a human. So you don't, if you need to pretend for practice until you start to feel like you are, then by all means do that. But when you start manifesting as source, even if you're just pretending in the beginning and playing with that, you're going to start to feel like you are. So when you get to that feeling that you are, then that's when you manifest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. So thank y'all. I'm done. The video is complete. Sprinkle, sprinkle. I'm going to my other channel now. Y'all are my subscribers over there. And I'll see y'all soon. And get that book. You will not regret it. Read the reviews. A lot of people like that book and say that it's totally changed how they think and manifest. And also, it's very simple. And it's how I speak. So it's written in terms that you're going to be able to understand exactly how I talk. That's how it's written. So y'all enjoy, and I'll see y'all later.